if you have a way to stay organized, it can really help and make you not feel like you are absolutely drowning in the ocean and there's no one around to save you.
We interrupt this program for an important news announcement.
So when you have a YouTube channel, you are constantly trying new things and trying to like up the quality of your content. So lately I've been trying to make my video quality even better, which is like why I got the new lens, why my videos have been in 4K. So I turned a setting on my camera to be like the best 4K, I don't know, the 4K setting for my camera. I did not realize how poor the autofocus is on 4K. So my video I just recorded is not like perfectly in focus. The content of the video is really good. I hate to like re-record a 30-minute pre-edited 30-minute video. So I'm just gonna like edit it the way it is. I feel like you guys will be able to understand it, but I just wanted to like acknowledge it. Like I know it's a little in and out with the focus, but I changed the setting back so it'll be like nice and clear like this is from now on. Kind of sucks. Kind of not my favorite part of having a YouTube channel is when you get to editing and you're like,
walkie sludge.
That did not go the way I wanted it to. That being said, enjoy the video. It should be fine.
In today's video, we're going to be talking about how I stay organized as a nurse. I have been a nurse for about almost 9 months now. I've had to learn how to get organized pretty quickly. I still remember some of my early shifts when I didn't do a lot of these things. I would forget things and it was just really hard to stay like focused and organized. So I wanted to share with you guys everything that I do to help stay on track. I am a labor and delivery nurse, but a lot of these things could be used for any area of nursing for the most part. Anywhere that you have to like take and give report and you have to give meds and do things at a certain time, this should help you. So I'll talk about some general nursing things you can do to stay organized, and then at the end I'll talk about more labor and delivery specific things. So the first thing I started doing when I was working on postpartum was I would use the hospital's pre-made postpartum report sheet. Now I know not a lot of hospitals do this or have this. Our hospital has 3 different ones you can use. I really like one of them. The other 2 always would like throw me off, so I always used the same one every day, and it covered everything that I really needed to know and that I would need to tell the next nurse coming on. So it had the patient's name, age, how many babies she's had, how many pregnancies she's had, what time she gave birth and what way she gave birth. It talked about where her IV was, when the last time I gave her meds, what her history was, and it had a spot for like any extra notes. So that was really helpful because it like went through everything that I needed, and then on the side of it, it had the same spot to say everything about the baby, if it's breast or bottle fed, just everything like that the last time that it was fed. So doing that for each of my patients made sure that I got all the information I needed, and then I would refill out my report sheet right before the next shift got there so that I could update it with all of the new information. If your hospital doesn't have a pre-made one, there are ones you can get online for free. You can print one out and then photocopy a bunch of them so that you can use that every shift. For our postpartum area, we have that pre-made report sheet, but for labor, we don't. So we make our own report sheets or like report cards. I really struggled in the beginning when I didn't know how I wanted to set up my report card. I would have different things everywhere, and then when I was giving a report, I didn't really know like what was relevant or what wasn't relevant, and you just learn with time what they really need to know and what they don't really need to know. But setting up your card the same way every time really can help you. So if you make like an example one and then always doing it the same way, that can be really helpful. So I'll show a picture here of how I always do my report cards, and I'll kind of talk to you guys on why I do it that way. So another thing I like to do on my report sheet is I highlight all of the important things, kind of like I did on this report card. So something I really like to do, especially when I have multiple patients like on postpartum, write out like an hourly to-do list. I set alarms for each of the things like I cannot miss. Shout out to like the best preceptor ever, Danimal. She is the one that taught me to do this, and I still do it today. We'll say that we have rooms 101, 102, 103, and 104. So I'll write all the hours out for my shift. So I'd have everything written out. I would set alarms for each of the big things so that I didn't forget them. And so I usually would write like the room number, and if it's for the baby, I put like a little B. So like 103B car seat test at 9 a.m. So I would set an alarm on my phone for 9 a.m. so that when I'm like running like a chicken with my head cut off, getting water and getting meds and God knows what, I don't like forget, and then the car seat study doesn't get done. And then I usually usually just like put a line through it when I'm done. Another good thing that I've seen on a YouTube video that some nurses do is when they start an antibiotic, they set a timer on their phone for like 30 minutes or an hour or however long it's going to run for. When it switches over to the flush bag, it doesn't always like alarm, so you can go in and shut it off so you don't just give them like a whole flush bag, which is kind of silly. Switching over to the labor and delivery side of things, something that I've started doing recently that has been like amazing. I annotate on my strip a lot. If we place a side attack, I annotate it on the strip. Even though I'm scanning the med and it's getting like charted, I can look back through the strip. And then also if you start having like decels, run it back to when the decels started. And then you're like, well, we placed that second side attack. And ever since then, she's been having lates. Well, we're probably not going to do more side attack. You know, it sort of helps paint like a clinical picture. I just really like it a lot. I used to only annotate on the strip like their exam and if the baby's having like decels or the baby's down, like any intrauterine resuscitation things we do, like of course I annotate that in real time so that like I have that to look back on. But now I kind of even will put like when I up the Pitocin, because when I'm charting I can just like go back and be like, okay, it's been 30 minutes and she's still not in a good pattern. I can go up because I can see it right on the strip. I'll kind of go into more detail how I do my labor card because we don't have like a pre-made sheet and I've never found one online that like I like personally. So I will show you guys exactly how I set it up for labor. So this is like labor specific. I don't think this would be very relevant for like med surg because it's birth focused. This is how we do it. And I'll even tell you guys like how I give a report on a labor patient. I do not have note cards at my house, so I'm using a post-it note. At my hospital, we have like big note cards that we take report and give report on. So that's kind of what I'm going to be recreating here. So when I make a report card, I normally put the room number in the top corner and then I put the patient's last name, first name sometimes, not always, especially if it's like really long. I put how old they are, and then for labor and delivery, I put their G's and P's, so how many times they've been pregnant and how many times they've delivered. I put their blood type, and then if they have any allergies. And then I put if they're GBVS positive, so like group B beta strep positive, what their Hep B status is, and then if they're immune to rubella or not. And then I put if they got their Tdap during the pregnancy. We COVID test everyone, so if they're COVID negative. And the note cards I normally do them on have lines, so it kind of helps keep it in order. Their history, they have asthma, and maybe she was late to care, so she only got like 4 visits. And that lets me know that like I'll need to put a bag on the baby when it's born to get a urine sample to drug test the baby. I'll put what her last exam was, and when they did it, we do another cervical exam. I'll write like the next one. When they get to postpartum, if they have their postpartum literature, which is like their feeding log and all of their like informational sheets, their Edinburgh. We have a maternity kit that has all like the mesh underwear and the little like water bottle and the ice packs, and that goes in the bathroom in labor and it comes with them over to postpartum. So I put if they have their maternity kit. I put if their birth certificate is up through delivery, which just means it's filled out. We have like a birth certificate form and we fill it out up through delivery, and then once they deliver, you like fill in what time and all of that. I'll put whether or not they need a paternity affidavit. We'll say she does. I'll put what her plan is for postpartum birth control. So let's say she wants an IUD at 6 weeks, whether or not she'll need lactation, and whether or not she'll need WIC postpartum. So we let WIC know that she delivered. And then in the top corner, I put how many weeks she is. So let's say she's like 39 and 6. We're expecting a baby girl. We'll say she's going to breastfeed, that she's okay with baby meds like the erythromycin gel, the vitamin K shot, and the Hep B at 12 hours. She's fine with skin to skin. And then on the back, I'll put like kind of what we've done so far. Status post side attack at 14, 15, I don't know. And I'll write like if it's her first dose or not. Had morphine at noon. So I'll write that on the back. As it continues, like if we start Pitocin and we turn it on or we turn it off, I'll write like Pitocin on at blank, and I'll just kind of carry that through on the back. She had a standard vaginal delivery at 2200. The baby's weight, whether or not she had a laceration or a tear. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So that's how I set up my labor card. I always do it the exact same way, and then I will read kind of how I would give this report to an oncoming nurse. So we'll pretend you're a labor and delivery nurse. Congrats, you made it, and you're taking a report from me. It's hard to do on camera. So this is Miss Smith, first name Jane. She is a 29-year-old G3P2. She is O positive with no known allergies, GPS positive, treated ×2, Hep B negative, rubella immune. She got her Tdap and she is COVID negative. She has a history of asthma and late to care, 4 visits, 450 -3. The most recent check was 675 -2. She SROM'd clear at 11 and she got her epidural at 1400. She is 39 and 6 with a baby girl, planning to breastfeed. She's good with all baby meds and she does want to do skin to skin after the delivery. She doesn't have her literature yet because we're not on postpartum. She has her maternity kit in the bathroom. Her birth certificate is filled up through delivery. They will need a PA. She wants an IUD at her 6-week appointment and she will need lactation and WIC. She is status post 1 Cytotec at 1415 and she got morphine at 12. We turned her pit on at 1900. We turned it off at 2000 because of a D-cell. Came back on at 2100. She got her first penicillin dose at 10 a.m. and her second penicillin dose at 1400. And then if she had delivered, I would say she SVD'd at 2200 and she's intact. Baby is 3300 grams, 19.5 inches, and its head was 14.5 inches. That's a good kind of example. That is everything on how I stay organized as a nurse. Doing these things has been a day and night difference. I just came back to work after a week and a half off because, as you guys know, I was like super sick. I was just like running behind myself all night, and like halfway through the shift I realized I wasn't writing down my hourly schedule and I wasn't writing down like every little thing I needed to do with check boxes. I was forgetting everything. I was just like, oh my gosh, I cannot think straight right now. Just like the little things that are not important. I started writing everything down and then the rest of the shift went great. Just write it all out when you're having a calm moment. That way you can check everything off and you can be like sure that every single thing got done. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Bye.